My beloved child, pause your breath for a moment and listen with your spirit, because this message did not arrive by accident. January 30 is not just a date on a calendar. It is a quiet turning point. Something has been forming beneath the surface of your life, unseen by others, even unnoticed by you at times. And now, before the window gently closes, clarity is being offered. Not forced, not shouted, of it. You are hearing this because Archangel Michael has been standing watch over a process that began long before you realized it had started. Small signs, delayed answers, sudden emotional waves that came without explanation. These were not random. They were signals of alignment, pieces moving into position, a build-up that required patience, endurance, and silence. Hear this clearly. Nothing about this season has been wasted. You may have wondered why conversations stopped, why plans stalled, why certain people drifted without conflict. You replayed moments in your mind, searching for mistakes. But this was not loss. It was preparation. January 30 marks the moment when the fog thins, and what was hidden begins to reveal its true shape. Archangel Michael speaks now not with fear, but with precision. He says clarity is worthy. It is given before the door shifts, not after. Many miss this kind of clarity because they are waiting for noise, for dramatic signs, for undeniable proof. But divine truth often arrives quietly, like a thought that keeps returning, or a realization that suddenly feels heavy with meaning. Pay attention to what has been repeating in your life. The same idea, the same discomfort, the same inner nudge that says, "Look again." This is not pressure. This is guidance. Something has been building, an outcome, a decision, a revelation about where you stand and where you no longer fit. You may sense that a chapter is finishing, but the ending has felt unfinished. That's because the final understanding had not yet arrived. Until now. January 30 carries the energy of discernment. Not exposure, not confrontation. Discernment. The ability to see without reacting. To understand without needing to explain. To choose without needing permission. Archangel Michael is guarding this clarity so it does not overwhelm you. He knows your heart. He knows how deeply you feel, how easily you carry responsibility that is not yours. That is why this message comes gently but firmly. It asks you to open it immediately, not to rush, but to receive before distraction pulls you away again. There is a window, yes, but it is not a threat. It is an invitation. Windows exist because timing matters. If you have felt unusually reflective, if sleep has brought vivid thoughts, if silence has felt louder than noise, this is confirmation. Your inner world has been preparing to recognize something your outer world could not explain yet. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time. What is quietly building is not chaos. It is truth. And truth does not need to shout to be powerful. It only needs space to be seen. Ask yourself this. What have you been tolerating that no longer feels aligned? What question have you avoided because you sensed the answer would change things? That question is now safe to face. Archangel Michael says courage will not be required in the way you think. This will not demand a dramatic move or a public declaration. The real courage will be internal, allowing yourself to accept what you already know. Clarity often arrives as relief first, not excitement. You may feel a strange calm after this realization. That calm is your confirmation. January 30 does not force action. It offers understanding. And understanding reshapes your next steps naturally. When you see clearly, you stop forcing doors. You stop explaining yourself to the wrong ears. You stop trying to keep peace. This message is opening because you are ready to see without fear. Archangel Michael stands beside you now, sword lowered, not to fight, but to protect your discernment. He says, do not rush to speak. Do not rush to decide. Let the clarity settle like light on water. What you realize in this window will echo forward. It will influence choices, boundaries, and directions in subtle but lasting ways. That is why this moment matters. You did not stumble into this message. You were guided here because your spirit recognized the timing. Stay present with this feeling. Let it unfold. The next layer will connect dots you thought were unrelated, and when that happens, everything begins to make sense in a way it never has before. And trust this, once clarity is received, confusion loses its grip. Beloved soul, as this message continues to unfold, understand that what is approaching is not loud, but it is undeniable. The clarity being offered around January 30 is not meant to confuse you or rush you. It is meant to stabilize you. Archangel Michael says many people mistake divine movement for disruption, but true alignment often feels like things slowing down just enough for you to finally see. You may notice that your tolerance has shifted. Things you once ignored now feel heavier. Conversations that once flowed now feel forced. This is not judgment. It is discernment activating. Your spirit is recalibrating. And when recalibration happens, the familiar can suddenly feel foreign. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this is not a sign you are changing into someone unrecognizable. It is a sign you are returning to who you were always meant to be. The building that has been happening quietly is internal before it ever becomes visible. Your values are rearranging. Your priorities are sharpening. Your energy is becoming more selective. Pay close attention to what drains you versus what restores you. Round this time, clarity may arrive through simple moments. A sentence someone says casually. A memory that resurfaces without warning. A feeling that lingers longer than expected. These are not coincidences. These are signals meant to guide you without overwhelming you. Archangel Michael says you do not need to confront everything you realize. Some truths are meant only to inform your next steps, not to spark discussion. Silence will be wisdom here. Observation will be strength. You might feel an urge to explain yourself, to justify why you feel differently now. Resist that urge. Clarity does not require defense. When something is aligned, it stands on its own. This message is also reaching you because you are not meant to process it alone. Even though the journey is personal, the insight you gain has the power to help others recognize their own moments of truth. That is why sharing matters. When you engage with this message, by liking it, commenting what resonates, or sharing it with someone who feels stuck, you are extending the clarity beyond yourself. Archangel Michael honors participation. He says when you interact with truth, you anchor it deeper into your spirit. If this message is touching something real inside you, let that be known. Leave a comment, even if it is just a single word. Your acknowledgement matters more than you realize. And if you have not yet aligned yourself with this space, now is a powerful moment to subscribe and stay connected. These messages are not random uploads. They are released with timing and intention. By subscribing, you position yourself to receive what comes next without delay. January 30 represents a pause before momentum. Not a stop, just a pause. A moment to recognize where you are before movement resumes. Archangel Michael says those who honor this pause will move forward with confidence instead of confusion. You may also notice that certain answers you were seeking externally begin to rise internally. You stop asking others what to do. You start trusting what feels steady inside. This is maturity of spirit. This is discernment strengthening. Do not underestimate how powerful this shift is. What once felt like pressure will feel like clarity. What once felt urgent will feel optional. And what once felt necessary may quietly fall away without resistance. Archangel Michael is reminding you that clarity does not always bring immediate happiness, but it always brings peace. And peace is the foundation for every lasting blessing. If this message is resonating, help it reach the people who need it most. Share it. Engage with it. Support the flow of it. There are others standing at the same window of understanding, unsure why they feel restless or reflective. Your interaction helps this message find them. And remember, subscribing is not just about updates, it is about alignment. It is a declaration that you are choosing awareness over distraction. As this message continues, allow yourself to stay present. Do not rush ahead mentally. What is coming next will connect what you have felt with what you are about to see. Hold on. What unfolds next brings a layer of understanding that many people miss if they look away too soon. Chosen one. There is a reason this message is deepening now, because what has been quietly building is reaching its point of recognition. Not manifestation yet, recognition. Archangel Michael says many blessings are delayed, not because heaven is slow, but because awareness must arrive first. You cannot steward what you do not yet understand. And now, understanding is being unlocked. You may suddenly realize that certain struggles were not meant to be solved, only outgrown. You kept trying to fix situations that were designed to expire. This realization may feel bittersweet, because effort was invested, hope was poured out, and patience was stretched. But hear this clearly. Nothing you gave was wasted. It trained your discernment. It refined your spirit. It prepared you for what comes next. January 30 stands as a line of demarcation, not visible to the world, but deeply felt within you. After this point, you will find it harder to pretend you do not see what you see. Archangel Michael says this is a mercy. Living without clarity costs more energy than making aligned choices ever will. Something else is important now. The clarity being offered is not only about people or situations, it is also about you. About how much you have been minimizing your own intuition. About how often you sensed truth but chose comfort instead. There is no condemnation in this message, only correction wrapped in compassion. You are learning to trust yourself again. Notice how your inner voice has grown calmer but firmer. Less emotional, more grounded. This is not detachment. This is maturity. Archangel Michael says when discernment matures, drama loses its appeal. You stop needing closure conversations. You stop needing validation. You simply know. And knowing changes everything. You may feel guided to create space, emotionally, mentally, even physically. This is not withdrawal, it is alignment. Space allows clarity to breathe. Without space, truth feels crowded and overwhelming. With space, it feels steady and empowering. Archangel Michael is guarding this process because once clarity lands, it cannot be unseen. That is why distractions have increased around you lately. Noise rises when awareness is about to deepen. But you are here, listening. That means you are responding, not resisting. What you receive now will shape your next season. Not because it forces action, but because it adjusts perception. When perception changes, decisions follow naturally. There is also a subtle warning within this message, not of danger, but of delay. If clarity is ignored, confusion returns. Not as punishment, but as consequence. That is why this window matters. Not to pressure you, but to invite you. Archangel Michael says, do not rush, but do not numb yourself either. Sit with what you are realizing. Journal it. Pray through it. Let it integrate. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your inner shifts. This is sacred ground. And now, receive this ritual of acknowledgement, because recognition seals revelation. Type I receive divine clarity in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 939 is now released over your discernment and peace. And now, hear this carefully, because this is not separate from the message. It is an extension of it. I feel led to speak directly to those whose spirit just stirred. This message is light, and light is meant to travel. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked in the description, you are sowing clarity into souls who are still in confusion. The word says that when seed is released, harvest is commanded, and I declare this seed opens rivers where there were dry places. I hear the Lord saying, as you pour oil, I will not let your vessel run empty. This is not a donation. This is obedience in motion. Those who give in this moment are aligning with the timing of heaven. Do it now, and may what you release return to you pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. My dear one, as this message continues to unfold, there is a deeper layer now coming into view. Archangel Michael says clarity does not arrive all at once because the heart needs time to adjust to truth. What you are beginning to sense is not just information. It is repositioning. Something inside you is quietly stepping into its rightful place. You may notice that your reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered anxiety or overthinking now feel distant, almost neutral. This is not because you care less, but because you see more. Discernment creates emotional stability. When you understand the nature of something, it loses its power to disturb you. Archangel Michael says this is a sign of spiritual authority awakening. Authority does not shout. It does not chase. It does not beg for understanding. It stands firm in awareness. And right now, you are learning to stand without leaning on external reassurance. This is a sacred shift. There is something else happening that you may not have words for yet. A subtle detachment from outcomes. You still desire good things, but you are no longer desperate for them to arrive a certain way. This is trust being restored, not blind trust, but grounded trust rooted in wisdom. January 30 is connected to this shift because it marks the moment when striving gives way to alignment. You stop forcing answers. You stop replaying scenarios. You allow truth to rise instead of digging for it. Archangel Michael is reminding you that clarity simplifies life. It does not complicate it. When clarity enters, decisions become cleaner. Boundaries become easier. And peace becomes less fragile. You may also feel a sense of grief surfacing unexpectedly. Not because something bad has happened, but because you are fully realizing what will no longer come with you into the next season. This grief is natural. It honors what once served a purpose. But do not let it anchor you. Grief does not mean you are going backward. It means you are processing forward. Archangel Michael says, do not confuse familiarity with destiny. Some things were only meant to walk with you part of the way. Releasing them does not dishonor the journey, it completes it. There is also a growing sense of responsibility now, not toward others, but toward yourself. You are becoming more aware of how precious your time, energy, and attention truly are. Wasting them feels heavy now. This is not pressure. It is self-respect awakening. Pay attention to moments when your body reacts before your mind does. Tightness, relief, calm, discomfort. These are signals your discernment is speaking through sensation. Your spirit communicates faster than your thoughts. Archangel Michael is encouraging you to honor these signals instead of overriding them with logic or habit. You are learning a new language, the language of alignment. As this unfolds, do not be surprised if old patterns attempt to resurface. This is not regression, it is resistance. When clarity strengthens, anything misaligned tries one last time to regain influence. Observe it without engaging. You are not here to fight what is fading. What is meant to remain will not require struggle. It will feel steady, mutual, and grounded. It will not drain you to prove itself. This is also a season of internal honesty. You may find yourself admitting things to yourself that you avoided before. Not because you were dishonest, but because you were not ready. Readiness has arrived. Archangel Michael says honesty with self is the highest form of courage. It is easier to face opposition than it is to face truth. But truth sets you free gently, not violently. Do not rush to apply what you are learning. Let it integrate. Integration is where wisdom forms. When truth moves from the mind to the heart, it becomes lived understanding. The clarity you are receiving now will soon influence how you speak, how you choose, and how you respond. Others may notice the change before you do. They may sense that you are no longer available for confusion or mixed energy. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Archangel Michael wants you to know that you are protected during this transition. You are not exposed. You are not alone. Every realization is being guarded so it strengthens you rather than overwhelms you. Continue to move slowly. Continue to listen inwardly. The foundation being set now will support everything that rises next. And what rises next will feel less like a battle and more like a confirmation. Stay present. The unfolding is not finished yet. Beloved heart, as this message continues, Archangel Michael draws your attention to something very subtle yet powerful that is happening within you now. It is the strengthening of inner alignment. Not the kind that comes from effort, but the kind that settles when resistance fades. You are no longer fighting to understand. You are allowing understanding to arrive. This season is teaching you how to move without force. In the past, you may have believed that progress required constant action, constant fixing, constant proving. But now you are discovering a different kind of movement, the movement that comes from clarity. When clarity leads, effort decreases. Archangel Michael says this is how divine order feels. Calm, grounded, intentional. You may notice that your intuition is becoming more precise. It is not loud or dramatic. It speaks in short, clear impressions. A quiet yes, a firm no. A sense of peace or unease that does not need explanation. This is discernment refining itself. There is also a shift happening in how you view time. You are less rushed, yet more aware. Less anxious, yet more intentional. You no longer feel the need to chase what is not responding. You recognize that what is meant for you will meet you with equal clarity. This understanding is freeing you from unnecessary cycles. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this clarity is not meant to isolate you, but it will naturally narrow your focus. You may feel less interested in superficial conversations or obligations that once felt important. This is not withdrawal from life. It is alignment with purpose. Purpose does not always reveal itself as a grand vision. Sometimes it reveals itself as peace with where you are and discernment about where you are not meant to go. You may also begin to notice how much energy you use to spend anticipating reactions, outcomes, or responses from others. That energy, is returning to you now. It feels like relief, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. Archangel Michael says reclaiming your energy is part of reclaiming your authority. Authority does not mean control over others. It means stewardship over self. And you are learning to steward your emotions, your time, and your attention with greater wisdom. There is another layer to this clarity that deserves your awareness. You are being shown where you have been overloyal, loyal to expectations, loyal to roles, loyal to versions of yourself that no longer fit. Disloyalty came from a good heart, but it has reached its limit. Archangel Michael says release does not mean rejection. It means completion. As you accept this, you may feel moments of uncertainty, not confusion, but openness. Like standing in a cleared space where something new has room to enter. Do not rush to fill this space. Stillness is doing important work. This is where trust deepens. You are also being invited to trust your pace. You do not need to match anyone else's timeline. What matters now is alignment, not speed. When timing is right, movement feels natural instead of forced. Archangel Michael is reminding you that clarity brings responsibility but not burden. Responsibility to honor what you know, to choose differently when something no longer aligns, to pause instead of pushing when peace is absent. These choices may seem small, but they are cumulative. They are reshaping your future quietly and steadily. You may notice that certain doors no longer tempt you. Opportunities that once seemed attractive now feel hollow. This is discernment protecting you from distraction. Not everything that looks open is meant to be entered. There is also a growing sense of self-trust forming. You are less likely to second-guess your instincts. You are beginning to believe yourself. This is a profound shift. Archangel Michael says believing yourself is the foundation of confidence. As this continues, do not be surprised if others respond differently to you. Some may feel inspired by your calm. Others may feel unsettled by your boundaries. This is not your responsibility to manage. Your role is not to maintain comfort for others at the expense of truth. Stay gentle but stay clear. The clarity you are receiving now is not temporary. It is not a passing insight. It is a recalibration that will influence how you navigate future seasons. You are learning how to recognize alignment early, rather than correcting misalignment later. This saves time. This preserves energy. This protects peace. Archangel Michael stands with you in this process, not to rush you forward, but to guard what is being built within. He says, let understanding take root. Do not rush the harvest. What you are becoming is steady, grounded, clear. And this clarity will soon make space for the next unfolding, not as a surprise, but as a natural continuation. Remain present. Remain honest. The path ahead is forming beneath your feet, one aligned step at a time. Beloved one, as this message moves forward, Archangel Michael brings your attention to how clarity begins to express itself outwardly, not through dramatic changes, but through subtle decisions that quietly reshape your life. You may not announce these changes. Others may not notice them immediately, but you will feel them deeply. You are learning how to respond instead of react. This is important. Reaction is rooted in habit and emotion. Response is rooted in awareness, and awareness is what clarity produces. You pause now where you once rushed. You observe where you once assumed. This is not hesitation, it is wisdom. Archangel Michael says this is the moment where discernment becomes practice. You may notice that you are saying no more easily, not out of defiance but out of honesty. You are recognizing the cost of yes when yes is not aligned. and you are no longer willing to pay that cost with your peace. There is also a new sense of patience forming. Not the patience that waits anxiously, but the patience that trusts timing. You no longer feel the need to control outcomes. You are allowing things to reveal themselves fully before you decide how to engage. This is a powerful shift. January 30 did not just offer clarity. It activated discernment that continues to unfold. What you saw then is now being integrated into daily life. Integration is where many people struggle, but you are doing it naturally because you are listening inwardly. Archangel Michael says this integration is what separates temporary insight from lasting transformation. You may still encounter moments of doubt. That is normal. Doubt does not mean clarity has left. It means the mind is adjusting to a new way of seeing. When doubt arises, do not argue with it. Simply return to what feels steady and true. Notice how your body responds when you think about certain choices. More tension. These responses are your inner guidance confirming alignment. You are also becoming more selective about what you allow into your mental space. Certain conversations, content, or environments no longer feel nourishing. This is not judgment. It is discernment protecting focus. Archangel Michael reminds you that focus is sacred. Where you place your attention determines what grows. This is also why sharing this message matters. When clarity has helped you, it becomes a responsibility to let it help others too. If this message has brought understanding or peace, express that. Like this message. Comment what resonated. Share it with someone who hath been feeling unsettled or unsure. Your engagement is not just interaction. It is participation in the flow of discernment. And if you have not yet subscribed, now is the moment to do so. These messages are released with intention and timing. Staying connected ensures you do not miss what aligns with your season. Subscribing is a declaration that you value clarity over noise. Archangel Michael. As this process continues, you may notice that solutions begin to appear without force. People show up differently. Opportunities feel cleaner. Decisions feel less heavy. This is not luck. It is alignment responding to awareness. You are also learning that not every truth needs to be acted on immediately. Some truths are meant to sit with you until the right moment arrives. Patience with truth deepens wisdom. Here is another important reminder now. Clarity does not mean certainty about everything. It means trust in your ability to navigate what unfolds. You do not need every answer in advance. You only need to know how to listen when guidance arrives. Archangel Michael says, you are not meant to see the entire path, only the next aligned step. That step may be internal, a mindset shift, a boundary, a release, or it may be external, a conversation, a decision, a pause. Trust that you will recognize it when it appears. As you continue listening, remember to stay present with this unfolding. Do not rush ahead mentally. There is another layer coming that connects everything you have felt into a clear picture. Hold on. What comes next will bring insight that feels both surprising and deeply familiar, and you will be glad you stayed with this message until now. Beloved soul, as this message continues, Archangel Michael draws you into a quieter, deeper place of understanding. This is where clarity stops being something you think about and starts becoming something you live. It settles into your nervous system. It reshapes how you move through ordinary moments. And suddenly, life feels less heavy, even when circumstances have not dramatically changed. You may notice that your inner dialogue has softened. The constant questioning, the self-correction, the mental rehearsals They are losing their grip. This does not mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself to find them when needed. That trust is the fruit of discernment. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where inner peace becomes stable, not dependent on external reassurance. You are also becoming more comfortable with uncertainty. Not because you enjoy it, but because it no longer feels threatening. You understand now that not knowing everything does not mean something is wrong. It simply means something is still unfolding. This understanding frees you from unnecessary urgency. There is a deepening of self-respect happening now. You are no longer willing to abandon yourself to maintain harmony. You choose honesty over harmony when the two are in conflict. And yet, you are gentler in how you do this. Less defensive. More grounded. This balance is wisdom. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize how far you have come. There was a time when you doubted your perceptions, when you overrode your intuition to keep things stable. That version of you did the best they could with the awareness they had. But you are not that version anymore. You are not here to repeat old lessons. There may be moments when the past tries to resurface, not to pull you back, but to test what you have learned. Familiar dynamics may appear in new forms. When this happens, observe your response. You will notice it is different now. Calmer. Clearer. Less reactive. This is confirmation of growth. You may also feel a growing sense of alignment between your inner world and outer actions. What you feel, think, and do are becoming more consistent. This coherence brings peace. It reduces inner conflict. It conserves energy. Archangel Michael says coherence is a sign of spiritual maturity. There is another subtle shift occurring. You are no longer waiting for permission to be yourself. You do not need consensus to trust your truth. You do not need agreement to honor your boundaries. This does not make you rigid. It makes you authentic. Authenticity attracts what is aligned and repels what is not. As this authenticity strengthens, you may notice that certain relationships naturally recalibrate. Some deepen. Some loosen. Some quietly complete. This is not loss, it is sorting. Life is reorganizing around who you are becoming. Do not interfere with this process by forcing connections to stay the same. Allow them to find their new shape. Archangel Michael reminds you that alignment always reorganizes reality. There is also a growing sense of inner stillness available to you now. Not silence, but stillness. A calm center you can return to even when life is active. The stillness is where guidance becomes clearest. Spend time there. It may come through prayer, reflection, or simple presence. However it appears, honor it. This stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness without noise. As clarity stabilizes, you may find that your desires become simpler. You want less, but what you want is more meaningful. Depth replacing breadth. This is refinement, not limitation. Archangel Michael says refinement is preparation. Preparation for what? Not something dramatic, but something sustainable. A life that feels congruent. A direction that does not require constant correction. A pace that allows you to breathe. You are learning how to listen before acting, how to feel before deciding, how to pause before committing. These pauses are not delays. They are alignment checks. There is also an invitation now to trust the unseen support around you. You are not navigating this alone. Guidance is present even when you do not consciously ask for it. Protection is active even when you do not feel it. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of clarity, ensuring that what reaches you strengthens rather than destabilizes. As this message deepens, remain open but grounded, curious but calm, You are not here to rush toward an outcome. You are here to embody understanding. The next unfolding will build upon this foundation. It will make sense because you have done the inner work to receive it. Stay with this process. What comes next will feel like a natural extension of who you have already become. Beloved child, as this message reaches deeper into your awareness, Archangel Michael brings your focus to a powerful truth. Clarity is not only something you receive, it is something you must choose to honor. Many people receive moments of insight, but few allow those moments to transform how they live. You are being invited into that transformation now. What has been quietly building was never meant to remain hidden. It was meant to mature before revealing itself. And now, you are standing in a place where insight and responsibility meet. Responsibility not in the sense of burden, but in the sense of stewardship. You are learning how to care for the wisdom you have been given. You may feel a stronger urge to live honestly, not just with others, but with yourself. You notice when something feels misaligned more quickly now. And instead of pushing past it, you pause. That pause is sacred. It is where clarity protects you. Archangel Michael says many people fear clarity because it removes excuses. But you are no longer seeking excuses. You are seeking peace. There is also a deepening courage forming in you. Not the courage to confront others, but the courage to follow through on what you already know. This is often the hardest courage of all. It requires consistency, patience, and trust. You may find that you are simplifying your life in small ways, letting go of unnecessary commitments, reducing mental clutter, choosing rest without guilt. These are not signs of withdrawal, they are signs of wisdom. Clarity always simplifies. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that simplicity creates space, and space invites blessing. When your life is no longer overcrowded with misalignment, what is meant for you finds you more easily. You are also becoming more aware of divine timing. You recognize that forcing outcomes often delays them. You feel less tempted to push doors open and more willing to wait for them to open naturally. This trust is not passive. It is active alignment. There may be moments when impatience arises. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. When impatience appears, return to what feels grounded. Return to what is clear. Archangel Michael reminds you that clarity is cumulative. Each aligned choice strengthens the next one. Each honest pause builds momentum you cannot yet see. As this message settles, take note of how your inner world feels compared to before. There is less noise, less internal debate, more steadiness. This is the result of honoring what you know. Now, there is a ritual of acknowledgement that seals this understanding and anchors it into your path. Type "I walk in divine discernment" in the comments if this message confirms what has been stirring within you. Blessing code 1441 is now activated over your clarity, patience, and alignment. And now, receive this extension of the message, because this is not a pause, it is a continuation. I am speaking now to those whose spirit feels steadied but stirred. When you support this work through super thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, you are sowing light into moments where others are still searching for clarity. The Lord is saying, as you release seed into my work, I will release soil into your path. This is not about giving to a channel. It is about partnering with heaven to reach hearts at their turning point. This act is prophetic and time-sensitive. What you release now becomes a voice of guidance for someone else. Step forward in obedience and watch how peace multiplies in your own life. As this message continues to unfold, remember that what you are doing now matters. Staying present matters. Honoring what you know matters. The final layers of this message will bring everything together in a way that feels complete, grounded, and unmistakably aligned. Stay open. Stay steady. The unfolding is moving toward fulfillment. Beloved one, as this message continues, Archangel Michael draws your awareness toward integration, the quiet, often unnoticed stage where truth settles into habit. This is where many people grow impatient because nothing dramatic seems to be happening. Yet this is where the real transformation takes root. You are not meant to rush this phase. You are meant to live it. You may notice that your days feel steadier now. Not necessarily easier, but steadier. The emotional highs and lows are less extreme. The internal tug-of-war has softened. This is not because challenges have disappeared, but because clarity has given you a stable center from which to face them. Archangel Michael says stability is a sign that discernment has been received, not just heard. You are learning how to carry truth without needing to announce it. In the past, awareness may have come with urgency, the urge to explain, to fix, to resolve everything at once. Now awareness comes with calm. You trust timing more. You trust process more. You trust yourself more. This trust is changing how you show up. You may notice that you are less reactive to uncertainty. When plans shift or answers delay, you no longer assume something is wrong. You remain open. You remain observant. This openness allows solutions to appear naturally rather than being forced. There is also a strengthening of inner boundaries happening now. Not walls, but filters. You are more discerning about what you absorb emotionally and mentally. You do not take everything personally. You do not carry what does not belong to you. Archangel Michael reminds you that discernment protects your peace without hardening your heart. You may also find that your relationship with silence has changed. Silence no longer feels awkward or empty. It feels informative. In silence, you hear subtle guidance. In silence, you recognize what is truly important. This is a gift. As clarity integrates, you begin to see patterns more clearly, not just in others, but in yourself. You recognize habits that no longer serve you. You notice where you tend to overextend or withdraw. And instead of judging these patterns, you simply observe them. Observation creates choice. Archangel Michael says choice is where freedom lies. You cannot change what you are unaware of, but once you see clearly, you are no longer trapped by habit. You can choose differently, gently, consistently. You may also feel a growing sense of compassion for your past self, the version of you who tried harder than necessary, who stayed longer than was healthy, who doubted their own wisdom. This compassion is healing. It allows you to release regret without erasing the lessons. There is no need to write the past. It has already done its work. As this unfolds, you may sense a quiet confidence building. Not bravado, not certainty about outcomes, but confidence in your ability to navigate whatever comes. This confidence is grounded. It does not require external validation. Archangel Michael says grounded confidence is unshakable. You may also begin to recognize alignment more quickly. You know when something fits. You know when it does not. This knowing saves you time and energy. It keeps you from overanalyzing or second-guessing. Trust this knowing. There is also an invitation now to honor rest, not as a reward, but as a rhythm. Clarity requires space to renew itself. When you rest, you are not stepping away from progress. You are sustaining it. Archangel Michael reminds you that even strength needs restoration. As you move through your days, notice how often you return to a sense of calm after moments of disruption. This return is faster now. This is evidence of integration. You are not lingering in confusion. You are recalibrating quickly. This is maturity of spirit. You may also feel less compelled to control narratives. You allow others to interpret your choices as they will. You know your truth does not depend on consensus. This detachment is freeing. It allows you to live authentically without constant explanation. Authenticity simplifies life. Archangel Michael wants you to know that this phase is preparing you for what comes next. Not by adding more information, but by strengthening your foundation. A strong foundation supports growth without strain. Do not underestimate what is happening now simply because it is quiet. Quiet does not mean inactive. Roots grow in silence. As this message continues, remain patient with yourself. Integration takes time. Consistency matters more than intensity. Each aligned choice, no matter how small, is reinforcing clarity. You are not missing anything. You are not falling behind. You are embodying what you have received. The next unfolding will feel natural because you have allowed understanding to become lived experience. Stay present. Stay honest. What follows will meet you where you are, steady, aware, and ready. Beloved soul, as this message continues, Archangel Michael turns your attention to momentum, the kind that forms quietly when clarity and consistency begin to work together. Momentum does not announce itself. It builds through repeated alignment, through small, faithful choices made even when no one is watching. And now that momentum is starting to carry you forward, you may feel a subtle sense of readiness emerging. Not urgency, not pressure, but readiness. A feeling that you are no longer merely preparing, but participating. Life is no longer something happening to you. It is something you are consciously engaging with. Archangel Michael says this readiness is the fruit of discernment honored over time. You may notice that decisions feel less heavy now. You are no longer paralyzed by fear of making the wrong choice. You understand that clarity does not mean perfection. It means responsiveness. If something needs adjusting later, you trust yourself to adjust. This flexibility is strength, not weakness. There is also a growing sense of confidence in your voice. Not necessarily louder, but clearer. When you speak, you mean what you say. When you commit, you do so with intention. When you decline, you do not over-explain. This clarity in communication is changing how others relate to you. Archangel Michael reminds you that clarity commands respect without demanding it. As this momentum builds, you may notice opportunities appearing that feel different from before. They do not come with chaos or confusion. They feel clean, grounded, aligned. Even if they stretch you, they do not drain you. This is an important distinction. You are learning to recognize the difference between challenge and misalignment. There may still be moments when old fears attempt to resurface. Thoughts like, what if this doesn't work? Or what if I misread the signs? When this happens, return to what has already been confirmed within you. Fear often speaks in hypotheticals. Clarity speaks in calm certainty. Archangel Michael says certainty does not shout. It steadies. You are also becoming more aware of how your presence affects others. Your calm invites openness. Your boundaries invite respect. Your honesty invites authenticity. You are leading quietly, simply by being aligned. This is influence without force. Now, there is something important to remember in this season. Momentum is sustained through connection. When you engage with messages that align with your growth, you reinforce that alignment. That is why your interaction here matters. If this message has been walking with you, grounding you, or confirming what you have felt internally, make that known. Like this message. Leave a comment sharing what resonated. When you engage, you are not just supporting content, you are anchoring clarity deeper within yourself. And if you have been here for a while, receiving these messages, now is the moment to fully align by subscribing. Subscribing is not a casual action. It is a decision to stay connected to guidance that meets you where you are. It ensures that when the next layer arrives, you are present for it. Archangel Michael honors those who choose alignment consistently, not occasionally. Sharing this message is also an act of alignment. There are others standing at the same crossroads of understanding, unsure why they feel different or unsettled. When you share, you extend clarity beyond yourself. You become a bridge. Momentum grows when clarity is shared. As this continues, notice how your inner resistance has decreased. You are less likely to argue with what feels true. You may not always like what clarity reveals, but you respect it. That respect is maturity. You are also learning to trust the unfolding without needing constant reassurance. Silence no longer scares you. Waiting no longer feels like stagnation. You understand now that some things are aligning beneath the surface. Archangel Michael says what is aligning beneath the surface determines what can stand above it. This is also a moment to stay present. Do not mentally rush to the conclusion. There is a final unfolding ahead that brings everything together. You will want to receive it with a grounded heart and an open mind. So remain here. Stay connected. You are closer than you realize to a sense of completion that feels earned, not rushed. Keep watching. What comes next ties every thread together in a way that brings peace, confirmation, and a deep sense of rightness. Beloved one, as this message draws nearer to completion, Archangel Michael invites you into a space of reflection, not to look backward with regret, but to recognize the coherence that has formed within you. This is the stage where everything you have received begins to feel integrated, whole, and quietly resolved. You are no longer seeking clarity. You are living from it. There is a noticeable shift now in how you experience yourself. You feel more settled inside your own presence, less divided, less pulled in multiple directions. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are beginning to align in a way that feels natural rather than forced. This alignment is not accidental. It is the result of honoring truth consistently. Archangel Michael says this is the fruit of patience. You may realize that the questions which once kept you awake no longer have the same urgency. Not because they were answered in detail, but because they lost their power over you. You trust that what needs to be revealed will be revealed at the right time. This trust brings rest. There is also a sense of internal closure happening now. Certain emotional loops are completing themselves. You no longer feel the need to revisit old conversations in your mind. You no longer replay scenarios hoping for a different outcome. Acceptance has arrived, not as resignation, but as peace. Acceptance is clarity matured. You may notice that your sense of identity feels cleaner. You are less defined by roles you played for others and more connected to who you are when no one is watching. This authenticity feels grounding. It reduces the gap between your inner and outer world. Archangel Michael says when that gap closes, peace expands. You are also becoming more present in your daily life. Simple moments carry more weight. You notice details you once rushed past. You experience gratitude without needing everything to be perfect. This presence is not distraction-free living. It is anchored living. Anchoring is important now, because as clarity stabilizes, life begins to move again. Not chaotically, but purposefully. Opportunities, conversations, and choices will begin to reflect the inner work you have done. This reflection may feel validating, but it may also feel unfamiliar. Growth often does. When this happens, remind yourself that unfamiliar does not mean wrong. It simply means new. Archangel Michael wants you to trust the foundation you have built. You are not stepping into the unknown unprepared. You are stepping forward equipped with discernment, patience, and self-trust. There may be moments when you are tempted to look for signs to confirm what you already know. Gently release that impulse. Clarity does not need constant reassurance. It stands on its own. You are also learning that peace does not mean the absence of challenge. It means the presence of stability during challenge. You now have that stability. It is within you, not dependent on circumstances. This is why you feel different. Others may sense it too. They may not be able to name it, but they will feel your groundedness. Some will be drawn to it. Others may feel unsettled by it. Both reactions are natural. Neither requires adjustment on your part. Stay rooted. Archangel Michael says rootedness allows flexibility without collapse. You can bend without breaking. You can adapt without losing yourself. As you move through this stage, notice how often you return to calm after moments of uncertainty. That return is faster now. This is evidence that clarity has become your baseline. You may also feel a quiet gratitude for the timing of everything. Even delays make sense now. Even detours reveal their purpose. This understanding does not erase difficulty, but it redeems it. Redemption is clarity's companion. There is also an invitation now to release the need to label this season. You do not need to define it or explain it. Simply live it. Labels are helpful for reflection, but presence is where life happens. Archangel Michael is reminding you that you are exactly where you need to be to receive what comes next. Nothing is missing. Nothing is late. Nothing has gone wrong. As this message approaches its final unfolding, allow yourself to rest in what you know. Let understanding settle fully. You do not need to prepare for the next step. You are already prepared. Remain open. Remain steady. The final layer will bring a sense of completion that feels gentle, affirming, and deeply aligned with who you have become. My beloved child, as this final message unfolds, Archangel Michael speaks with a tone of completion, not ending, but fulfillment. What has been quietly building has now reached a point of inner resolution. This is not the kind of resolution that depends on circumstances changing overnight. It is the kind that settles deep within you, where doubt once lived. You have crossed a threshold of understanding. The clarity offered before the window closed has done its work. You may notice now that you are no longer searching for signs the way you once did. You are no longer asking the same questions repeatedly. Something inside you knows. And that knowing is calm, not dramatic. Archangel Michael says this is how truth feels when it is fully received. You may look back at the beginning of this message and realize how different you feel now. Not because everything is solved, but because you are centered. You are no longer fragmented by uncertainty. Your inner compass has stabilized. This is important because the season ahead will require steadiness more than speed. What comes next in your life will not demand that you become someone new. It will simply ask you to remain who you have become, to honor your discernment, to trust your inner guidance, to pause when peace is absent and proceed when alignment is present. You are no longer in preparation mode. You are in embodiment. Archangel Michael wants you to know that the clarity you carry now is something others will feel. You do not need to preach or persuade. Your presence alone will speak. Your choices will model discernment. Your calm will offer permission for others to slow down and listen to themselves. This is leadership without noise. There may still be moments of uncertainty ahead. That is part of being human. But uncertainty will no longer destabilize you. You will meet it with curiosity instead of fear, with patience instead of panic, because now you trust yourself. You trust that you will recognize what is aligned. You trust that you will walk away from what is not. You trust that guidance will meet you when you need it. This trust is the true gift of clarity. Archangel Michael says, do not underestimate how rare this is. Many people live their entire lives disconnected from their inner knowing. You have reclaimed yours. Guarded gently, but confidently. As you move forward, remember this: clarity does not mean your path will always be easy. It means it will be honest. And honesty brings peace that ease alone never could. You are allowed to choose rest. You are allowed to choose depth. You are allowed to choose what aligns, even if it confuses others. This permission comes from within. January 30 marked a turning point, but today marks integration. What was revealed has been accepted. What was accepted hath been embodied. And what is embodied cannot be taken from you. And now, receive this final ritual, because completion deserves acknowledgement. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if this journey has spoken to your spirit. Blessing code 2026 is now activated over your path, your peace, and your discernment. And now, hear this final extension of the message, because this is not separate from what you have received. It is a continuation of obedience. I am releasing this word to those whose heart feels full and steady right now. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, you are responding to a divine moment, not a human request. The Lord is saying, as you help carry my word, I will carry what concerns you. Your giving becomes oil that keeps this light burning for souls who are still searching for clarity. This is a prophetic action, and timing matters. Do not delay what your spirit is already agreeing with. So now, and may heaven mark your obedience with peace, provision, and protection that follows you forward.